Today on Locked On Rockies, scoring one run in 3 games is a great way to continue the worst start in franchise history.
You are Locked On Rockies, your daily Colorado Rockies podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Rock on Rockies fans. I'm about to say Lock on Rockies fans there, but Rock on Rockies fans, welcome into the Locked On Rockies podcast for today, the 17th day of April in the year 2024. I'm your host of the Locked On Rockies podcast, Paul Holden, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, where you can find your team every day. If your team is the Colorado Rockies, guess what? You're in the right spot, because that's what we do around here each and every day is talk Rockies baseball, free and streaming on your favorite streaming services and on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show. We're firing off your takes on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, and the best way to support the show, the best way to help the show grow is by liking those videos and subscribing to them, and really appreciate all the support that y'all are giving on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel. And for those concerned about my health, well, you know, because I follow and cover the Rockies here for the network. Don't worry about it. Been doing it my whole life. I'm going to continue doing it forever. And that includes riding along with this team through the worst start in franchise history. And as you look ahead, things aren't going to get any better. This team has no choice but to show us something. I mean, none. I mean, it is not going to get any easier for this team in terms of scoring runs, as they are about to go home against one of the best pitching staffs in all of baseball coming up this weekend against the Seattle Mariners coming up. And then you have Padres and Astros. So we'll dive into all of that coming up here. On today's episode, we'll also talk about the struggles of the Colorado Rockies, because they continue to be awful. The show today is brought to you by FanDuel. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. The Rockies are off to the worst start in franchise history. That's according to Patrick Saunders on X. Their tough start for Rockies in 2024. 4-13 start is the worst record through 17 games. Make that 4-14 after last night's loss. Rocks have scored just once Rocks have scored first just once through their first 18 games. Patrick also tweets this. Strikeout rates for some key Rockies players, and this was at the beginning of the game too, so these numbers probably aren't 100% accurate for some of these players. Nolan Jones, 40%. Michael Toglia, 38.9%. Brenton Doyle, 32.8%. Chris Bryant, 32.7%. Ezekiel Tovar, 30.1%. Brendan Rodgers, 23.7%. Ryan McMahon, 22.7%. And Eleris Montero, 16%. Shoutouts to him, by the way. Someone I saw, a Rockies Twitter member, tweeted out the surprising one of the people who are low on the list there, like Rymack and Montero. I can't be distracted by I can't be distracted by that positive, and I can't be distracted by a good Ryan McMahon season amidst the fact that the rest of this Rockies offense is completely underperforming and unable to handle elite pitching in Major League Baseball right now. I mean, this team has been clowned for 3 games now on offense. 1 run in 3 games from a professional team. It's just unacceptable. It's inexcusable, especially when you've had moments. I mean, and boy, oh boy, did the Rockies love running themselves out of yesterday's game. Man, do the base coaches, are they not loud enough? Are they giving the wrong signals? What the heck? I mean, plain and simple, man. And it can just chalk it up to a bad stretch or whatever, but that was lack of discipline. The base running has lack of discipline. This series has been abysmal. I mean, everything outside of the starting pitching for the Rockies has just about been abysmal. You know, the bullpen hasn't been bad other than yesterday. It was really just one pitch to Bryce Harper that got away. You're the Colorado Rockies. Your whole thing's supposed to be offense. And this team hasn't fixed or addressed or made changes or shifted or gotten better on offense since they made a drastic shift away from players that were key contributors on offense. I know Nolan Jones has gotten a little unlucky at the dish. 40% strikeout rate. Where's the coaching here? Where's the adjustments? They're the majors, and these are great pitchers the Rockies are going up against. I understand that, but that's the league. The league is full of amazing pitchers. The league is full of guys that can set you down and throw a complete game. The Rockies could have been the victim of 3 straight complete games with the way the starters dominated them. Where is the in-game adjustment? Where are the professional at-bats? Where are taking pitches? Where are the walks? And to just act like, I mean, man, where's the urgency? This team has no life. This team has no energy. This team has no pulse. I know it's the road Rockies. It's the course hangover. It's whatever. But I mean, talk about classic Rockies road storyline. You go out on the road, you go up against a good pitcher there in Toronto, you get 12 runs and 20 hits, and you can't do crap for the rest of the road trip. Oh, let's let's do our daily reminder here as well about the Rockies. 8 strikeouts for the Rockies. I wish they were called the Rockies. The Rockies yesterday. 8 strikeouts, and that follows up their performance in the first game of this series, where the Rockies struck out 10 times. So the Rockies have struck out 19 times. Was it 18 times? I'm sorry. 18 times the Rockies have struck out in this series against Philly. That is nearly an entire baseball game where every single out is strikeouts. So we still got one more tonight. So, again, I be frustrated with the players and the performance. But for me, this continues to go back to preparation, awareness, training, practice. What are the Rockies as a team doing to address these issues? What is Bam Bam doing? I mean, there is no possible way that Dick Mumford is sitting there confident in this organization. And if he is, the loyalty's completely blinded him, because when you follow up the worst season in franchise history, and then you want to keep it with the rebuild, you want to buy into the young guys. I understood the slow offseason, but to then completely not get these guys ready to go. The Rockies aren't ready, man. They're not ready. They aren't ready to take on this level of talent. They are underprepared and outmatched across the board compared to the competition they've played this year. So if you're Dick Mumford and you want to know, that's what a playoff team looks like. So does the team before that, and the team before that, and the team before that. Those are what playoff teams look like. Those are what good baseball teams look like. Those are not teams that strike out 18 times over the last 2 games and score 1 run. 18 strikeouts in 2 games, 1 run scored. We talked about this being a bad season and a tough season, and the possibilities of what this team needs to do for things to go right and for things to work out. And the Rockies are failing at all of those. The biggest issue has been the offense. I haven't even been that worried about the starting pitching in like a week and a half. Except for the fact that the Rockies can't start a game without letting up runs in the first inning. You might as well just let out the other teams might as well walk into the ballpark and put a 1 or a 2, or in some instances, a 5 up there in the first inning. The thing that's the most frustrating to watch about the Rockies is, right now is, again, I don't have any faith in a change. I don't have any faith in an adjustment. And it just goes back to my deep untrust of the people in charge of getting this baseball team ready to go, ready to play. I don't understand why there is confidence in any of the people preparing these guys. If you're Dick Monfort and you continue to think that you can just bare minimum skim and continue to bleed in the analytics department, you're asinine. The Rockies look so far behind these teams. It's insane. From everything from approach at the plate, starting pitching, defense. I mean, everything that the Rockies have shown signs that they had improved on, they haven't. Not compared to these good teams. The biggest thing we've learned right now are the fact that this team is just being exposed by these playoff teams. It's a tough start to the schedule, and the Rockies have faced some great pitching, but it's not an excuse. If you're a good team, if you're a team on the rise, you're stealing those games. There's plenty of time left in this season for them to turn it around, absolutely. But this is officially the worst start in franchise history. That follows up the worst season in franchise history. When are the Rockies going to start setting records that aren't the worst in the league and worst in the franchise's history? When is that going to start happening? And when is there going to be accountability for those things to happen? No coach, no manager should be talking about extensions right now when your team is following it up with a performance like that. The Colorado Rockies have not been ready for the 2024 season. And guess what? They're losing Chris Bryant too. At least that's what it certainly seems like. Hey, did you know that the Rockies pitching staff has actually been pretty decent lately? Let's talk about that coming up in segment number 2 of today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Before we do that, though, got to tell you about the folks that help make this show possible, and that includes PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 3 million members. It is the easiest and most exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You pick more or less on 2 or more player stats and watch the winnings roll in. Like, you can take Rockies hits. You probably would be taking less in terms of Rockies hits, and strikeouts, you're probably taking more if you're picking Phillies pitchers there. Or players that are going up against the Rockies. Maybe you want to go in on the fantasy action with the Denver Nuggets taking on the Lakers there in the playoffs. You can, because PrizePicks has got you covered for all the playoff action here. You can download the app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's the PrizePicks app. When you download it today, you can it's really simple. You can make your picks, submit your entry in less than 60 seconds, and they got quick withdrawals too. PrizePicks, pick more, pick less. It's that easy. We're also brought to you by Monopoly Go. Who doesn't love Monopoly? You love Monopoly. Why not play an awesome spin on your favorite game? It is Monopoly in the 21st century. And guess what? We've all been there, either as a player or as a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard not looking good. Rockies fans can relate to that. You're feeling low, not sure you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and you say to yourself, time to get back in the game. Pull off some bank heists and take as much of my friends' money as I possibly can. That's right. The smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone anytime, with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. You can work with your friends to crack open community chests in tournaments to get extra rewards and climb the leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go, now free on the App Store or Google Play. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, bringing you your daily Colorado Rockies talk right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Your team has not been very good lately. For the Colorado Rockies, it has been a big time bummer here for the club. I mean, I just I couldn't believe this, man. I couldn't believe this from this stat from the game last night. The Rockies are 0-5 when their pitcher has a quality start. And they were saying on the broadcast that like the team's got like a historic, like a 66% win record. Like what? Like 0-5? 0-5, man. I mean, you got to hold on to the fact that the season's long. And I do believe in the talent on this team. But it's just like, man, that type of stuff is insane. 0-5 in quality starts, that's crazy. Crazy. At least to me, anyway. I mean, you can't even be, I mean, Gomber outside of the one bad pitch, man. Another freaking, man. It's like 2 outs. It's just one freaking pitch away. And the Rockies just hang these pitches, dude. It is just such a bummer to turn on every Rockies game, and they're like, all right, and they're already down 2, already down 1. Just so unenjoyable. And then to watch them run themselves out of opportunities yesterday in a game where if they get the split, you can win the series still. Like the Phillies, even though the Rockies have looked outmatched by the starting pitchers on the other side, the Rockies offense has handled the Phillies offense that's pretty darn good. Yesterday, you're burned by a walk, and Bryce Harper makes you pay, and JT Realmuto makes you pay on a mistake pitch. I mean, to give up it just on long balls with the amount of firepower in that, and not a ton of home runs either. I mean, the Rockies had chances in this series, just like they've had chances in every other series. But I can't keep saying that. I can't keep saying that they had this opportunity, but what good does that do? They had it. Just like I was saying at the end of the first segment there. When are the Rockies going to start setting the right type of history? When are the Rockies going to break up these bad stretches? Again, it's not just bad baseball. It's a prolonged instance of bad baseball. Rockies have now lost 4 in a row. They haven't won back-to-back games since August of last year. If you're not questioning what is going on with this team, then how bought in really are you? Like questioning in the sense of, what are we doing? How are we getting better? What adjustments are we making? And you know what? Maybe they've been sick. They've been mostly on the road. I mean, you can look for the little threads and the little things, but fundamentally, the way the Rockies are playing baseball is broken. You can't be a team that strikes out the most and strikes out the least people in a place that rewards contact. That is the way the Rockies are playing baseball, and the way the Rockies are built right now is not a philosophy that's going to thrive at Coors Field. Mixed in with the fact that these guys aren't taking good at bats. I mean, it's 3 strikes, it's 3 pitches, you're out. I mean, the Rockies are down 0-1 more than any other team in baseball. And Rockies pitchers, I believe, this was a stat I heard in the game yesterday. I can't remember the actual numbers. And I believe the Rockies have the highest rate of batters starting 1-0 against them. It's all backwards. It's all broken. And until I see this team turn it around and put together something good, you're only going to hear the doubt and the hate. Like, everything else is just going to be louder. Because guess what? Sure seems like Kris Bryant's going on the IL. We made it to April 17th before Kris Bryant is on the IL. The Rockies are off to the worst start in franchise history. They've scored 1 run in 3 games. What else? What more is there to say? And as an organization, if this stuff isn't making you think, if you're that blinded, because people are still going to go watch the Rockies this summer, but at this rate and at this point, numbers are going to go down, especially if the Avs Nuggets in the playoffs, deep runs. You'll see lighter crowds. I don't ever think you're going to see a lot. You're never going to see an empty stadium. But if you were looking for a surefire way to just nuke the interest of a baseball season, this would be it. I couldn't imagine a casual fan turning on the Colorado Rockies right now. Can't imagine there's a lot. I can't imagine the people on the fence about paying for the streaming service are paying for the streaming service. I mean, there's diehards out there. There are people that will always watch, and I'm one of those people. I would be watching even without the podcast. It's as crazy as it sounds. I still love the Colorado Rockies, and I still love Colorado Rockies baseball. It's fundamental to my enjoyment of baseball and how I like to watch it. But like, where's the argument here for the Rockies? When we talked about fighting for their relevancy, you follow up that terrible season with this terrible start. And the schedule's been known. I was really hoping that this season was going to start off with the Rockies surprising us against good, talented teams. And I think they still have a chance to surprise us with how they finish this season. But I'm disappointed. I'm a very incredibly disappointed Rockies fan right now. And it's hard to have a high energy level about this team until they start playing with a high energy level. All righty, let's look ahead here again to tonight's matchup. Let's figure out who's on the bump, and let's wrap up today's episode of the Locked On Rockies podcast here. Segment number 3 on the way next. We are brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel's got you covered for the sports prime betting season that we are in. Whoa, playoff time for the NBA. NHL playoffs right around the corner, including the last couple of really big games here in the hockey season. And baseball is in full swing. FanDuel is your place to bet on every game right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon. That's FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. This is the Locked On Rockies podcast for free and streaming on your favorite streaming services. Thanking you for making us your first listen of the day. Hey, if you want to catch the play-by-play action of the Rockies, you can check it out on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app. You can find it all by just looking up Colorado Rockies. You can find and get all the hometown broadcast that you want on SiriusXM and the SiriusXM app. All right, folks. The Rockies play the Phillies tonight in the finale. Rockies looking to avoid being swept, looking to score some freaking runs, man. Let's see who's on the bump for today. The Rockies looking to snap a 4-game skid. Ryan Feltner, who has been pretty darn good this year, a real bright spot for this Rockies team, especially, and one of the positive surprises of the season. 1-1 so far, 3.38 ERA, a whip of 1.31 in 16 innings pitched. Getting up 15 hits, 18 strikeouts, though, and to 6 walks, giving up the 2 home runs. Christopher Sanchez on the bump there for the Phillies. Hey, this is the back end of the rotation. This is the last guy up for the Phillies, and he's, pretty much on par with Feltner here across the board. 3.52 ERA, 0-2 record, a whip of 1.43 in 15 innings pitched, 15 hits given up as well for Sanchez, 15 strikeouts, 7 walks, no home runs given up. That would be a nice number to change today for the Rockies. A little bit, 7 walks. That means he is prone to that. So if the Rockies can get some good at bats, they are going to be hopefully able to pull out a couple of walks here to help them and beef up the offense a little bit here. Chris Bryant hasn't officially been moved, but it sounds like I was looking at our buddy Evan Lang was reporting that Sean Bouchard was pulled out of last night's game. And on the broadcast last night, they were discussing if they were going to send KB to the IL. I would be shocked if he doesn't go to the IL. The guy with the bad back did a bunch of really twisty moves and ran into a wall with said bad back. I don't think, again, just like I said earlier in the week, why we moved Chris Bryant to play first base. We play him in right field and he gets hurt. That's your 2024 Colorado Rockies right there. Looks like I'm not sure how the illness is still going there. Brendan Rodgers is listed on the injury report as well as day to day. So we'll see if he's going to get back into the lineup for the Rockies tonight. But I mean, it's basically this: can Feltner handle the really good the studs in the Phillies offense? Can the Rockies avoid falling behind in the beginning of the ball game? Can the Rockies play the version of baseball that lets them win? What's interesting, I feel bad when I don't remember these, but I saw this on Twitter yesterday too. When the Rockies have won, it's been tacos every time, and which is true. So, I mean, the Rockies have the ability to score and drive in the runs and hit the dang ball. It's just few and far between. The Rockies have won ball games by scoring 10 runs, 10 runs, 12 runs, and 9 runs. And I mean, where's the next one there? 10, 12, 9. And where was the other one? And it doesn't matter. Point being, 7. There it is. It was a tacos number on it. I finally found it as I was failing to read. The best sign you will know the Rockies are getting out of this funk and playing better baseball when this starts happening. When they stop falling behind first, and when they score and they score early. They stop, and when they are the team to score in the first inning, when they are the team to score in the second inning, when they are the team to hit the early home run, when they are the team that can do that, that is going to build the momentum that they need to snap this streak. And we'll see if Ryan Feltner, a pitcher that's been pretty darn good this year for the Rockies, can get the job done here in the finale as the Rockies look to avoid losing their 5th straight game and continue the worst start in franchise history. Folks, that's going to do it for today's episode of Locked On Rockies. Thank you so much for making us your first listen of the day. You can find us free and streaming on your favorite streaming services, and you can find us on the Locked On Rockies YouTube channel, where you can be part of the show by firing off your Rockies hot takes in the Locked On Rockies YouTube comment section. Your support there, your subscription on the Locked On Rockies YouTube, which is free, by the way, is the easiest way to help the show grow. Really do appreciate all the support there. Folks, until next time, this is Paul Holden saying so long from the Locked On Rockies podcast.